The Adventure Summary. The Adventure is a short story written by Indian writer Jayant Narlikar. He talks about the theory of existence of parallel worlds through storytelling. The story starts with Gangadhar Pant Gaitonde, a history professor exploring a different world, searching for answers to some questions that had altered his understanding of the past and present. He was traveling to Bombay on the Jijamata Express. He had made a plan researching by studying some books at a library and returning to Pune to talk to Rajendra Deshpande about his findings. He knew Rajendra Deshpande would help him solve his queries. However, Professor Gaitonde was also uncertain about the existence of his friend Rajendra Deshpande in this world. As he came out of the station in Bombay, he was shocked to find the headquarters of the East India Company alive and flourishing, which, according to historical records, was supposed to be wound up after the events of 1857. He reasoned that the time period could be one of those before 1857. He decided to find out. Meanwhile, when he went to see his son at the Forbes building, the English receptionist informed him that there was no employee named Vinay Gaitonde in the building. Gangadhar Pant was further shocked. He guessed that there was no reason for his son to be alive if he himself was dead in this world. Maybe his son was not born at all. Professor Gaitonde found a library at the town hall and asked the librarian to provide him with a list of history books, including the ones he had written. As he went through the books, he looked for the point where history had taken a different turn. Contrary to common knowledge, the contents of this book presented the outcome of the Battle of Panipat as the Marathas winning over the army of Abdali. As he read on, Professor Gaitonde noticed that the writing style was unmistakably his, but the content was completely new to him. The victory established the supremacy of the Marathas in northern India, and the East India Company decided to put a halt to its expansionist agendas. His book In the New World talked about Vishwas Rao, the new Maratha ruler, and his brother Madhav Rao using their political acumen and valor to expand their control all over India. They had made developments in the fields of science and technology with the help of the East India Company. India had become a democracy by the 20th century, and the position of the Sahanshah at Delhi was diminished to a figurehead to rubber stamp the recommendations made by the Central Parliament. He went through another book by Bhav Sahebanchi Bakhar that talked about the Battle of Panipat in a graphic manner. It talked about how a bullet had missed Vishwas Rao, hence, changing the original course of history as we know it. The librarian reminded Professor Gaitonde that it was time to leave the library. Gaitonde put the book of Bakhar into his left pocket absent-mindedly when he was putting some notes into his right pocket. Gaitonde found a guest house to stay in, and after having a frugal meal, went out for a stroll towards the Azad Maidan. In the Maidan, he found that a pandal was organized for a speaker. He noticed that the presidential chair was unoccupied. He went to occupy the seat, and the audience revolted against his action. When he went to reason with them by talking about the importance of a speaker on a presidential chair, the audience grew furious and removed him from the stage by themselves. The next scene shows Gangadhar Pant talking to his friend Rajendra Deshpande. The latter asked Gaitonde what he was doing before he hit the truck and had an accident. Gaitonde replied that he was thinking about the catastrophe theory and its implications on history. Rajendra smiled, and Gaitonde explained that it was not his mind playing tricks on him. To prove it, Gaitonde took out a piece of paper from his pocket. It was a page torn from the book of Bakhar that he had accidentally slipped into his left pocket. It talked about how a bullet had missed Vishwas Rao and how this event was interpreted as a good omen by the Matha army that led to their victory. Gaitonde then took out his own copy of Bakhar, which showed Vishwas Rao getting hit by a bullet. He went into a deep state of thought and finally told Gaitonde that he would try to solve this catastrophic experience of the latter using two scientific theories. Rajendra pointed out that the page that talked about Vishwas Rao victory presented a crucial event gone the other way. He now started connecting the events to a scientific theory. Reality is not only about things that we can perceive through our senses. It could have other manifestations as well. It is not easy to predict the nature of systems comprising atoms and their constituent particles, even if all the governing principles are known. In different world pictures, an electron might be present at different positions. Once we find the position of the electron, we can easily determine which world it is. At the same time, interestingly, alternative worlds with the electron in different positions can also exist. Moreover, transitions happen in systems with electrons and their constituents. An electron may cause radiation while transients from a higher state of energy to a lower state of energy. Rajendra speculated that this kind of behavior could also happen at a macroscopic level. An astonished Gangadhar Pant asked Rajendra if it was possible that he had traveled to one world and returned to his original one. Rajendra explained that catastrophic situations offer radically different alternatives for the world to proceed, but the observer can experience only one at a time. Gaitonde had made a transition to another world where he stayed for 2 days and was able to experience two worlds at one time. In both the worlds, the bifurcation took place at a certain point, the Battle of Panipat. Gaitonde had traveled neither to the past nor the future, but he was in the present, experiencing a different world. There could be many more different worlds formed by bifurcations at certain points in the timeline. Professor Gaitonde was curious to know why he had gone through such an experience. Rajendra explained that interaction was necessary to cause a transition. Gaitonde was thinking about the catastrophe theory and its implications for war. Maybe he was thinking about the Battle of Panipat, and it probably triggered the neurons in his brain. Gaitonde conveyed to Rajendra that the topic for his 1000th presidential address was going to be about the consequences of the reverse outcome of the Battle of Panipat itself. Conclusion of the adventure. Summary of the adventure. Class 11 English presents an interesting scientific theory through the lenses of a history professor. The experience experienced by Professor Gaitonde is bizarre and seems like wild imagination to someone who has never heard of this theory before. This chapter is a beautiful combination of literature and science to propagate the theory of parallel worlds to the layman reader. A person who does not have much scientific acumen can also understand this theory through the story. Rajendra Deshpande's explanation of the theory through step-by-step analysis of the event to compare it with the features of electrons in microscopic worlds demonstrates the basics of quantum physics behind the foundation of this theory. For more update, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.